Hey everyone, guess what? Now it's time to take a look at these films that are turning 30 this year. Boy, making me feel very old saying that.
Starting transmission.
All right, so let's start off the bat. These again, like I mentioned last video, you know, December is known for a lot of the Oscar contender movies, and this month is no other, like no other. But to be honest, wasn't a lot of Oscar contender movies that came out this year. So let's go ahead and dive into these movies. First up, we got one of my all-time favorite comedies, Dumb and Dumber. And this is actually turning 30, which is crazy that I just did a video last month for the 10th anniversary of Dumb and Dumber 2. Again, we do not talk about the prequel. The prequel is dead to us. Mention never again. But this is a great comedy starring Jeff Daniels, starring Jim Carrey. This movie is amazing. It's funny. It has a great storyline. You know, these two dumb idiots who basically travel across the world to deliver a suitcase to Lauren Holly, I think it is, who actually became one of Jim Carrey's wives too at one point. It's a really good like little comedy / mystery movie because you don't know why they're doing this package. You don't know why she left the package. You know, all this stuff. And you know what? These guys are just really funny. You can't make comedies like this anymore, unfortunately, because that slapstick humor just doesn't like fly anymore in this day and age. But man, I love this movie. It is probably one of the quintessential Jim Carrey movies that you have to see. So if you've never seen any Jim Carrey movies, I'm going to put this up there with Ace Ventura, the very first one, and with The Mask. These are 3 films of Jim Carrey's that I recommend you check them out. I love the fact that he's jumped back into comedy with the Sonic movies. And what can you say? Jim Carrey's a legend. You know, he will go down as one of the greatest comedic actors out there. All right. Also turning 30 this month, and this makes me feel really old, is Richie Rich.
Had everything a boy could want.
You have your own McDonald's?
Except the one thing he wanted the most. Friends. Richie Rich.
Yes, the movie starring Macaulay Culkin is turning 30 this month. Unfortunately, this was Macaulay Culkin's very last movie before he took a 9-year gap of not acting. So, say what you say, the movie probably really hurt him. But unfortunately, too, also, this was a year, so 94 was a year that Macaulay Culkin had 3 films come out. And you know what? They weren't all great. So you had Getting Even with Dad at the earlier part of the year. Then you had The Page Master, which was last month, which also turned 30. This month, you also had Richie Rich. I mean, Macaulay Culkin was everywhere. You know? I can't believe there are actually a lot more Happy Meal toys than Macaulay Culkin that came out in 94 than I think any other year. Because you had the Page Master toys, and you also had Richie Rich toys. But this was a time where Harvey Comics, the comic company that was actually creating the Richie Rich comics, had stopped producing because sales were dwindling. Nobody was reading Richie Rich comics. This was the golden age of superheroes. So it's kind of weird that they tried making a movie out of it at this point. I mean, it was probably the year before where they actually made what was that movie called? Oh, Dennis the Menace was like the year before that. So they were trying to bring up the nostalgia feelings for our parents at that time. So I understand that part of it, but you know, Richie Rich looked fun. I wanted to be Richie Rich. My cousins and siblings also wanted to be Richie Rich. So I don't know which kid did not want to be Richie Rich. But fortunately, this was the end of like his acting career for 9 years, which he didn't come back until Party Monsters in 2003, I believe. So if you haven't seen Richie Rich, I recommend you go check it out. It's a nice, good comedy, a nice little fun movie of nostalgic 90s. All right, next up we have Street Fighter.
Now, who wants to go home and who wants to go with me?
Yes, Jean-Claude Van Damme and Raul Julia. This is crazy because in my mind, I actually thought Street Fighter actually came out way before Double Dragon. And we just did Double Dragon last month. So Double Dragon actually came out before Street Fighter, which means I'm trying to think back. Uh what was it? Mortal Kombat. So this is the era of those superhero films. Let me take a look. So this is like the era of those superhero movies where they're making. They weren't great. So like in '93 we had Super Mario Brothers, which whew, there's a movie. Then '94 we had Double Dragon, and we had also this one, Street Fighter, which is kind of one of my favorites. And then the following year we had Mortal Kombat. In those 3 years we had a lot of video game adaptation movies. They weren't great, but they were the movies. All right, so talking about Street Fighter. Street Fighter is actually one of my favorite video game movies. I don't know why. It is fun. It is cheesy. I just love this one. This is actually, like I said, one of my favorites. It stars Jean-Claude Van Damme as Guile, which is weird because like Guile's character is supposed to be super American and everything. It has that cool, weird looking flat top, which they kind of tried to give Jean-Claude Van Damme a little bit, but not too much. And unfortunately, this is also the very last film for Raul Julia. And you might recognize Raul Julia as the actor Gomez from the Addams Family movies. And many other great movies from the 80s and 70s. So, great actor. Unfortunately, this is his last film. And he passed away just pretty much right after this. But yeah, this movie is, this is campy fun from the 90s. And I recommend that if you don't see the other Street Fighter movies, The Legend of Chun-Li, that is bad on a whole other level. I recommend you check out this one. This is a really fun 90s movie. And you know what? Way more enjoyable than a lot of the other video game adaptations that came out during this time. So next up, we have IQ. This movie is turning 30.
Only an Einstein could bring two such opposites together. Fortunately,
Yes?
he was available.
You're Albert Einstein.
Thank you.
IQ.
Now here's a little rom-com. I just had to throw one in here, Now I talk about all the superhero movies and like childhood favorites, but why not throw a little rom-com in there, IQ starring Tim Robbins, Meg Ryan, and Walter Matthau. And I think this is one of the last few movies of Walter Matthau's career. He did a couple of sequels to Odd Couple and Grumpy Old Man and everything like that. But this was him at probably one of his peak moments where he wasn't one of the main actors. It's a typical love story between Tim Robbins' character and Meg Ryan's character, but Walter Matthau is playing Albert Einstein. Who knew that we needed a movie about Albert Einstein's being a matchmaker? I know I didn't either. I never even thought that he created E equals MC squared. He solved Lagrange math equations. I didn't know he was a love maker, and this movie is all about that. It's him trying to find love for his niece, and it's a weird, whimsical comedy. I don't know. It's fun. It's a cheesy movie. It's fun. It's enjoyable. If you've never seen it, I recommend you go check it out. It's a nice little 90s comedy that's, fun for everyone. All right. So, leaning in here because this is important for everybody to know. Everybody's upset with the Disney live action remakes. But I got something to tell you, so come a little closer. It didn't start with Maleficent and all the other movies. No. The very first Disney live action movie was The Jungle Book.
Book, the classic story of a boy who grew up with the wildest friends of all. This holiday season, share the fun and excitement with Mowgli, Baloo, King Louie, and Shere Khan in the biggest Disney adventure ever, The Jungle Book.
I know, mind blowing. That's crazy to think about. Jungle Book came out in 1994. Now, this was kind of loosely adapted from the actual Jungle Book cartoon. It's more based off the actual books, more the second Jungle Book, which is the second book from Rudyard Kipling. But yeah, this is because like an older, like Tarzan kind of movie with Mowgli. He's like a little bit more. He's like an older adult, and He's more like Tarzan than he is like Mowgli the boy. So, anyways, it's a weird movie. It is produced by Disney, and it is officially considered the first adaptation of one of their cartoons. And you know what? This is actually one of the few films I don't see anybody ever talk about. The movie is actually pretty good, you know, a lot better than a lot of the other live action remakes. And I think that's because it's only like building on the actual storyline. But they used real animals, they used real like sets. They're really filming in India. I mean, it has a really kind of like realistic feel to it. And knowing those tigers and bears were on set is crazy. But you know what? If you've never seen this movie, I recommend you check it out. It is a great watch. You know what? And it's surprising that we don't have more of these kind of live action films based off of Disney properties, rather than what they give us now, which are pretty much carbon copies of the animated film. So, with that being said, that is all the movies are turning 30 this month. Let me know in the comment section down below. What were your thoughts? What is your favorite movie that's turning 30 this month? Did you like any of these movies I mentioned below? Let me know in the comment section down below. I want to hear your thoughts on what is your favorite movie turning 30 this month. And make sure you hit the like and subscribe and the notification bell to get notified whenever a new video is posted. And until next time, guys, this is JD with the Figgy Pop Collector Channel.
That concludes a Figgy Pop transmission.